Turn the page to football. I want to ask one question. You had a sit-down with Jordan Arcement a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He obviously takes a new job with Athletes First. I don't know how much you know about it, not to put you on the spot, but talk about Arcement, his job with LSU, kind of the role he served, and the hole he'll be leaving, and kind of what's next.
Yeah, tough loss, and kind of caught me by surprise because I just spoken with him, as he mentioned, and asked him a lot about this year's team and kind of how things were going, and everything he said, the way he was saying it, led me to believe, and I had no thought that he was going to be leaving anytime soon or anything because he had just gotten a promotion, right?
Yeah.
And he's been around the program a while, and it seems like he really likes what he does. Not to say that he left because he didn't or whatever, but it just seemed like he had some really good stability there and gave some great insight on revenue sharing and how things were going to be changing over the next couple weeks. So I open up Instagram and I see this. I was like, oh, is this like a job with LSU or something? And I guess not. But I texted him, congratulations, of course. And I think it's a good role for him. Like, that's kind of – he's so knowledgeable about that kind of stuff, even though he didn't play in that era. Like, he played at Nichols. He had injuries he dealt with, and this was like early 2010s. And since then, he's been a high school coach. He's been a grad assistant. He's been a player personnel guy, and that's kind of what he's done at LSU, kind of moving from Virginia. I think he was at Nichols for some time where he played, and then LSU, obviously, the past couple of years. Really well connected. I think it's a tough loss for this recruiting department because he played at Edie White. He's a Thibodeau guy. So
he's Louisiana through and through.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So he's well connected everywhere. He's been doing this job for, I think, 3 or 4 years to this point with LSU. He got brought in by J.R. Belton, as you mentioned earlier. And what you're losing is a guy that has very, very long and strong relationships with so many different high school coaches and people around. And that has been such a big emphasis for this Brian Kelly LSU era, is making Louisiana, right? Like bringing those players back, keeping those players here.
Especially when you look at the job title of the job he got promoted to, where it's Director of Recruiting Communications and External Relations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is pretty cut and dried, clear, transparently, like your job is to build relationships, talk to people, which is that's who he is to a T. Like, he builds relationships. He wants to talk to people. He wants to be around the state and obviously expand outside Louisiana. But, I mean, he is Louisiana through and through.
Yeah, he's that guy. I mean, he's in all the photos with the players at the practices. He's the one that's walking them around, introducing them to the coaches, meeting the parents, shaking the hands, all of that. So you could find someone else that kind of has been around a while, like Donovan Tate is a well-connected Louisiana guy. JR is, obviously, Coach Wilson is, and everybody on your staff really goes without saying. So there's certainly some guys you could find to promote or whatever it is, but not everybody has the same relationship with people as, like, you might have a relationship with somebody that is maybe more nurtured than mine with the same person. You know what I mean? Because you've known them longer, or you've gone through these experiences, or you are related to them, or you know this guy or that guy. Like Jordan kind of was the guardian to a guy that played at U-High recently. His name's Zay Martin, really good receiver. He's going to Jones, I believe, Community College now. Who else is at U-High? Lamar Brown. And so many other great prospects. Keelan Moses was there. Like, that's just built-in connections, that might help you win recruiting battles. So it's a tough loss, but I think it's a great position for Jordan.
Great hire by
absolutely.
Athletes First.
He knows the ins and outs of NIL. He knows the ins and outs of what's coming, and he just gets it. He understands how it all fits together and that things are constantly changing and evolving, and he's always looking for the legal loophole. Like, how can I push this to the limit advantageously for myself and my organization without breaking any rules? Like, he gets that and he understands that, and that's just you can't really, like, that's intangible, I think. So really nice guy, great guy, and he'll do great things. I think whatever job he's one of those kinds of guys. So
and on top of that, like, kind of turning the page, obviously that is a loss, but then you still have confidence in Austin Thomas and the job you've obviously seen him do, and then moving forward, like, he's proven he has the ability to adapt, learn. Like, he went down. You saw, if you read Wilson Alexander's write-up on this past offseason, this was something they had planned, where he went out to the Seahawks and the Texans to understand how they broke down positions of need and kind of the way the money worked. LSU's in a great spot with him at the helm.
It's like an NFL model, which I think will help, because it's kind of moving in that direction. You have a salary, you have a limited amount of resources, and you need to have some kind of structure and understanding of what are the most important positions to lead to winning football games. Kind of like Moneyball in some ways, you know what I mean? So instead of
percentage. Exactly.
So instead of going out there and doling out too many of your resources to somebody just because it's a name or it's the number one guy, do you really need to do that? Is that going to necessarily lend itself to team success? I think he's a mastermind, and I wonder with revenue sharing and this whole is it Duluth, the clearinghouse that's starting?
I think Deloitte.
I wonder if maybe Jordan's role was getting diminished a little bit because of that, because before he was more involved in the NIL deals and stuff like that, but now it's more so Deloitte or whatever, their responsibility.
The landscape is changing.
Do that. Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if maybe that had something to do with that. But no, I mean, they've got it figured out, it seems, over there. They're in a good spot still. They're definitely going to need to fill that position.
Yeah.
But they've done pretty well with that. You lose Bo Davis. You fill that with a very good hire.
Right, and Kyle Williams.
You lose other assistant coaches. You bring in some from, Blake Baker, Coach Peoples, and so on and so forth. So they'll need to do that there to continue recruiting well in Louisiana. But the thing about LSU is that alum list is pretty deep.
Yes.
Those family ties are pretty strong. So I'm sure there's somebody you could find that's ready for that position.
And then looking at Omaha from
real quick for the Arcement thing, do you think that that's a positive for LSU in a way where you have somebody kind of on the inside
connection?
now? You have a connection to where you can kind of
it could be.
see the landscape of it through a different eye. I don't think that's tampering or anything, but you have somebody that clearly had a great relationship with LSU, moves to the other side of it now, and now you can kind of have insider information or an inside track as to how this thing is working, what people are actually offering, how this whole thing plays out. So it's like LSU has a hire on a staff where the landscape's changing, and now you have somebody that's going to tell you what the landscape looks like before you get to see it.
That's thinking outside the box. Yeah, it definitely could, because I think from what I understand, this is more of an agency that he's joining, right?
Yes.
Which will sign players. And that might be a kind of an inside way of
guard.
You sign with Jordan, he'll get you the best deals, and obviously he loves LSU.
And scooch him.
Yeah.
Go this
legally.
way.
Just go. Yeah.
So that kind of ties back into what we were just talking about with the loopholes and the
Right.
toe in the line and stuff like that. And maybe when he was telling me all that, that was his way of saying this. Nobody could have predicted this, but this is what might be coming down the line. So
I mean, he probably knew he was leaving while you were talking to him.
I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, it would have been great for him to tell you.
Yeah, that'd been a great soundbite.
Yeah.
Oh, breaking
I don't
here.
think he would have done that.
No,
but yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, and Lloyd's good at the outside the box thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I had to cheat my whole way
It's
through
because he
school.
eats so much of what's inside of
knowledge.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I would do if I had a way to get somebody that was on staff and you're trying to figure this whole thing out. Why would you not put somebody to have an inside track? If nobody's going to stop you from doing it, or nobody else has done it yet, doesn't mean it's illegal. And then if it turns out that in 3 years, you can't do that, it's like, oh, well, we did it for 3.
Thanks.
Then you find the next one.
It's too late by that point.
Right.
He's
established.
Ask
It's
for
like
forgiveness, not permission.
Well, it's like LeBron. He basically started his own agency.
Right.
And it's like, I would like to know what the going rate is for these guys, or if I can get them to sign with my guy, maybe I have a better chance of getting them to the Lakers or the Cleveland or to the Heat, whatever it may be. But
Anthony Davis has signed with Clutch Sports.
And now he's a Laker.
A year later, he's a Laker.
Yeah.
That could be one of those things. And everybody wins. LSU gets the player, Jordan makes a little money, and the player makes money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, no,
maybe
that's a good thought.
Yeah, we'll bookmark this for the time that maybe a Tristan Keys signs with Athletes